got through the introductions, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to try and keep this as fast-paced and moving as we can, but bear in mind that this one is going to be a little bit, because I got a lot to go through to try and make this all happen and lay the groundwork of what we're going to do. So let me get to my PowerPoint and we'll get rolling. You guys still can hear me okay?
Yeah.
Loud and clear.
Beautiful. That's what I love. All right. Okay, so here we go. I got my clicker. I'm gonna roll. Let me see what I can. And again, if you guys if you're gonna speak, that's fine. If you're not gonna speak and you got background noise, do me a favor and mute yourself. If you need to, you want to chime in with anything or have a question, just make sure you either, if your camera's on, well, just say, hey, Bob, this is Kevin. I got a quick question. All right, just so that I know it's there, because I don't have everybody up, so I won't be able to see everybody at all times. Cool? All right, so I got to see my PowerPoint. All right, so here's the deal. 100K means nothing, right? It was a name that I created back in 2008 in the height or the depth, however you want to look at it, of the downturn in real estate, when I had probably, I don't know, 400 agents in the company. And of those 400 agents, 200 were headed to the Skyway to jump off the bridge, right? It was, you know, life as we knew it was over and everything else. So I said, all right, and I've heard enough. This time, this date, this place, you guys need to be here. I'm going to show you how to make 100 grand a year in this business, in this market right now, right? In the worst real estate market in the history of mankind, right? And so we created this group, right? That we started, I introduced what we're going to do. By the way, just like now, right? I lost, like, I don't know, how many people did we say we have on? Maybe like 25 or 30 of us, you know, that, and which, you know, we had 77 say they're going to be here. All right. So that's very typical, right? It's easy to talk about wanting to do well. It's quite another thing to actually commit to do it. And I get it. Life comes up and so on and so forth. But at some point, you're going to have to make a decision, right? So with that in mind, the reason I lost half those people in 2008, like within the first 15 minutes, was that I told them, hey, look, leave your excuses at the door. There's no complaining. We're not going to, this is not a whine and moan session, right? Whine being W-H-I-N-E or W-I-N-E, right? Okay, neither one, right? It's not a whine and moan session. It's going to be, let's get down to business and make things happen, right? Remember, and correct me unless Mara slipped something in on me and she didn't tell me in the invite, I don't think you had to give a credit card to get the link to get on this session. Is that correct?
Right.
Right. So with that in mind, that's the good news. This training, and for those of you Keller Williams agents, right? We like to introduce the 100K as the unbold, right? It's like the upside down. Take your bold training and throw it out the window. All right, because we're not going to do that. We're going to do some different stuff, right? And the other reason it's different than bold is because I didn't ask you for $800 before you got in the door either, right? So that's the good news. The bad news is when you don't pay for something, right? Then you lose your right to be offended. You know, I'm not threatened by like, oh no, they didn't like my training, so they're going to leave. Well, guess what? Leave. Right? I get it, because we are going to get down to the brass tacks here. This is not how I teach other classes, right? This is, hey, because do you know, I'm going to look at some statistics here, but do you know that if I could, let's just say 100 grand is a goal, and it doesn't have to be your goal. Your goal could be 40 grand. Your goal could be like, hey, 100 grand doesn't motivate me enough. I need to make 250 grand in the next, 8 months, or, I got serious trouble. Right? Whatever your situation is, that's you, right? But the reason I chose a number is because we want to have something to shoot for. It matters, right? It's a goal, and we've got to be able to backtrack a plan in how to get you there. But that being said, if it is 100 grand, let's just say that's 100 grand net. There is no way in the world you're going to do this just by doing it willy-nilly. Right? 100 grand in the real estate business puts you in the top, I think, 7% of earners in the real estate marketplace, right? So this is not just something, oh yeah, I think I might put my tiptoe in here, right? And make 100 grand. It's going to take some work and some effort, but the good news is we're going to help you find something that works for you, all right? And that I feel like I'm in a chair right now, and I feel like I'm dating myself again. Remember that old show, was it Password? Right? Where you had to give clues and they had to, it's today's version of the game that they play at home called Taboo, I think, right? Or the words, you're not allowed to use certain words and you got to get your partner to say the words, right? Mm-hmm. The password was you had to describe something, but you couldn't say certain words and you couldn't use your hands. So they had their hands, tied up to their, like in a strap in their chair. So I feel like I'm that right now. Anyway, so I'm going to unstrap my hands. Here I go. The reality is it's going to take some effort, right? And I need you to commit to that. And it's okay. By the way, we'll probably lose people throughout the night, right? Even as we plow through this. And that's okay. There's no offense. I'm unoffendable. I just want you to know that, right? That there's no issue there. Okay. Fair enough. I already got that. Agreed. All right. Raise those of you I can see, raise your hand. Those of you I can't, say aye.
Aye.
All right. And unmute yourself. All right. I got people virtually raising their hands. I love that. You guys are high tech. All right. Good deal. Perfect. Beautiful. Yeah. So unraise your hand so I know what's what. All right. So here's the thing. If you guys have been around me at all, you understand, or you will understand quickly, that I believe mindset is critical, right? There are no tricks, excuse me, that I'm going to show you. There's no magic pill. There's no secret script, right, that I'm going to share with you. I wish there was. I wish there was a pill I could, because I could just make amends by just, hey, look, here's your prescription. I could just write prescriptions. So instead, we're going to write you a different kind of prescription. It's a mindset prescription. I'm going to show you how to attack this business in a disciplined, consistent, structured way. And I'm going to help you find a way that you enjoy doing, and it'll be different for each of us, right? And the reason I have to do that, because if I try to do something or make you do something that you didn't enjoy, or you weren't all in, or you weren't buying, right, then you're not going to do it. It's flat out. I've been around this too long to even pretend that I could do it. Therein lies my problem with classes like Bold, right? Because they're going to try and force square pegs into round holes come hell or high water. And that's not what we're going to do here. I'm going to help you find a way that works for you. Cool enough?
Hey, Bob.
All right. Yeah.
What is Bold?
Bold is, it's a class that Keller Williams has, and it's not bad. I mean, what it is, but they teach a lot of, all right, today is the third day of the second week of Bold. So we're all going to cold call chiropractors today. Right. And so here we go, and we all dig in on the smile and dial. And if you went into that classroom, a good, if they might have 40 people in the room, 38 of them are underneath their table sucking their thumb saying, I don't want to do that. Right. Because no, I wouldn't want to do that. Right. It's just a different, now, don't get me wrong. What they teach would work if you would do it, but most people don't want to do it. They're like, hey, you know what? If I had to choose cold call or bartend again, I'm going back to bartending, right? It's just, it's just what they're doing, right? It's just that, and so the reality is it works for some, but it's not going to work. I'm going to help you try and find and develop a system that works for you, right? Good question, Kevin, though. I appreciate that. All right, so proper mindset. Here's what we're going to start with. This is simple, right? This is simple. It's not easy. It's simple. By the way, you can take all the notes you want. If you want, we're going to show you, if you aren't part of the 100K Facebook page, we're going to show you how to be part of that. I will post these slides on there so you can grab them if you want to do that. You might want to save your ink and your paper for all the salient, witty wisdom that I deliver off the PowerPoint. All right. Then you can write those down because, that wasn't on the PowerPoint. But if it's on the PowerPoint, you can realize you can get it later. All right. So this is simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. Do not overcomplicate this business. Are you with me? I refuse to allow you to overcomplicate this thing. This is simple. It's not easy. This came to me probably about 4 years ago now. Samuel was in 3rd grade and we were doing long division, right? So we were cranking through long division and, he'd have it nailed down, no problem, got it, piece of cake, no problem, Dad. Wake up the next morning, I'd say, okay, before we go for your quiz, you have a quiz this morning, let's just do a quick, two quick, long divisions before we jump in the car. and you look at me like this. You're like, total freeze, I'm like, dude, you just had it last night, right? I mean, what happened, right? I mean, and he was just like, it was stress, right? I could see it happening. So we started, and I added something for him was we had a mantra that we would say, I'm smart. This is simple. I got this. All right. So and by the way, we still do it today. I did it with him today on the way to school. All right. He had another math quiz today, right? So I'm smart. This is simple. I got this. And I guarantee that if you saw him, if we had a camera in him taking the test, right, he would probably do this in his mind. He would say, and then he'd pick up his pen to go, because we had to unfreeze the brain, right? So many of us are frozen in our real estate careers because we're convinced we're listening to all the other people that tell us it's hard. All right. And it's, like I said, it's not easy. It's simple, right? What you need to do to be successful in this business is simple. The matter is, how are we going to do it, right? How do we convince ourselves to do it? So when I say, and you guys can keep yourselves unmuted, or I'm going to try this because we're on this Zoom session, I'm going to see if I can give you forewarning that, hey, I'm about to switch slides. And when I switch slides, the first point is going to be, this is simple. And your answer is going to be, I got this. All right. So every time let's practice now, unmute yourself. All right. Everybody ready? Okay. This is simple.
I got this. Got this.
Got this.
Perfect. One more time. All right. This is simple.
I got this.
Got this.
Perfect. All right. You got this. All right. I want you to know that. All right. It is absolutely okay. All right. Now, if you got people in the background, after I tell you to unmute, then mute yourself. There you go. Perfect. All right. Understand the power of the mind. The mind is amazing, right? But it can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It's like the U.S. Marine. All right. All right. The U.S. Marine can be your best friend or your worst enemy. All right. You do what we tell you to do, or you're your best friend. All right. You try and come against the United States, then the U.S. Marine is your worst enemy. All right. So that is the same thing with your mind. All right. And so we're going to help you get to some ideas that can help you free up your mind. All right. We're going to replace the fear and failure habits. Stop listening to the old you. All right. And by the way, I come to this with some experience. All right. I wasn't always the effervescent, ever over bubbling, energetic, positive, let's attack the world kind of guy that you see today. Right. I was raised, catch this. All right. I was raised with my dad, who died at 47 when I was only 14, right? But my parents, God bless them, instilled some very good things. Most of it, the best thing they did for me was to instill in me a faith, right? That's, and I think it's one of the most important things they could have done, and they did it, right? But that being said, he had a plaque on his desk. I remember this very vividly because it's now, I was 14, or I was actually like 6 when I first saw the plaque. So if you guys can do the math, that was 48 years ago, right? So with his plaque, it said, if everything seems to be going right, you've obviously overlooked something. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a tough way to go through life, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and so that is, again, God bless them, but I wasn't raised with this, hey, let's go attack the world kind of thing, right? I was raised with, what's around the corner, right? And it's so funny because I don't know, has anybody, and I hate being on this, I got to be live, so we're going live soon. All right, so has anybody ever done like one of those 23andMe things, swab your cheek?
Yeah, I have. German.
Okay. All right, perfect. So I did that, right, to find out where, and so long story short, right, McDougall, do you think I'm all, Scottish, and I am, right? But we found out too that most of Scotland was, well, and this is being recorded, so I'm hesitant, was sired, if you will, by this Dane, this Viking, who basically conquered all of Scotland back in like 1200s or something like that, right? There's a guy Somerled, right? So all these Scots, like myself, are getting themselves tested, and we're finding out we're really Danish, right? We got Viking blood in us, right? So I start digging around, which is all great, by the way, because I dug further and I found a family crest that basically led back to the McDougalls that said our family motto was conquer or die, I'm like, right on, man. I started wearing hats with horns on them. I was like, right on. Okay, here we go, right? Conquer or die. That's more me, right? And so here we go. I'm all excited about that. But then I got to thinking, how did we get from conquer or die to everything seems to be going right? You've obviously overlooked something, right? What happened along the way to allow us to diminish our thought process that low, right? And so I said, all right, I don't care what happened. The answer is it happened, obviously, so it stops here, right? So I made a decision for me pretty much at 17 and a half, right? When I graduated from high school, I was gone the next day and said, all right, okay, I'm starting a new path here, right? And so I started seeking knowledge in things that I could replace the fear and failure habits that had plagued me throughout my early upbringing, right? So I stopped doing that. I'm going to encourage you to do the same. I don't know, everybody has a different story, right? And so I just want you to know that. I want you to pre-play what it's going to look and feel like to achieve whatever your goal is that you set, all right? I want you to be honest, though, about where you are and what it's going to take to get where you want to be, right? You got to stop lying to yourself. You can't fool yourself. The worst, Jeanette and I say it to the boys all the time. By the way, just quick, you guys don't know, when I say Jeanette is my wife, right? But it's the last time she will be described as my, W word?
Wife.
Yeah.
Wife.
Yeah, right, exactly. Because if you ask her, she is defined by far more greater things in life than being Bob's
wife.
Yeah, right. So, so I just want you to know who Jeanette is, right? So that's Jeanette. Joseph is our oldest son, who's a senior in high school right now. And doing great. He's in Florida virtual school. He's been virtual actually since 9th grade. So this is like no problem for him, right? So Florida virtual school, killing it, doing great things. And he's biological. And then Samuel, who I mentioned earlier, is our youngest son. He's in 7th grade. And Samuel was adopted from Russia about 10 years ago, right? So give you an idea. And then I might mention one other person or one other being, and that's Trixie. And Trixie is our Blue Merle Collie, right? So if you know, now you got to, because I tell stories about us a little bit, so get to where you are. So Jeanette and I always tell the boys, it's bad to lie, but the worst person to lie to in the world is yourself, right? You know what? You can't, because when you start going down that path, it gets ugly quick, right? I've been there, I've done it, all right? So I'm going to help you see if we can talk about and work through that, right? Now, already people are like, what the heck? How is this real estate training? I feel like I need to be on a psychologist couch somewhere, right? Or psychiatrist couch. Hey, right? You're taking me. I got people on screen weeping, thinking about what their mom said to them when they were 6. And I was like, okay, it is what it is. We've got to deal with that stuff. And because, let me give you a flash forward a little bit. Remember I told you we're not going to cold call, right? Cold calling is chasing business, right? Well, I'm going to show you how to attract business. It's better to attract than to chase, right? But to attract, we have to be attractive. And part of attractive is I've got to be okay with me, right? I'm just telling you, I know you weren't prepared for this psychoanalysis as we're going through this thing, but it's truth, right? As much as you may not want to admit it, truth is there. So be aware of that. We're going to do that. We're going to commit to being accountable for your own actions. I know it's very un-American right now, right? It's a lot easier. Oh, it's got to be somebody's fault, right? Holy smokes. What do you mean me? Right? It's natural to blame somebody else, right? It's in our nature to do so. All right. Until this is one of my favorite Covey, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Covey says this: until a man or woman can look themselves in the mirror and honestly say, I am where I am today because of choices I've made, they can never effectively change. And it's the truth. And it's the hard truth. It's the truth that makes one of people leave Zoom classes like when they start talking like this, right? I get it, right? I totally understand, right? But it's the reality is, you know what? You want some hard truth? You ready? You want me to blow smoke up your backside, or you want truth? Unmute yourself and tell me. Okay, I got one truth. I got truth.
Truth.
All right, truth. All right, aim. All right, give me. I want some. Wave your flags and amens. I want waving hankies. All right, here we go. All right. The reality is, your checkbook says what it says because of choices you've made. What's the more hard truth? Your scale says what it says because of choices you've made. Want some more hard truth? Your relationship with your family members is what it is because of choices you've made, right? Again, I know, remember, you didn't pay me anything to get in here, so I'm not going to refund anything, right? But it is what it is, right? And that until we can take ownership, I mean, it is the first step in a 12-step program. So I've heard, right? Is that, you know, the first step is I admit before God and others that I have a drinking problem, right? That until you say that, you cannot correct it, right? And again, we're spending a lot of time on this, but you've got to commit to saying, you know what? I am where I am today because of choices I've made. It's a tough pill to swallow. Made me put the Covey book down several times and have to come back to it, right? But I had to get there. All right, I'm about ready to switch slides, I believe. So, by the way, if you guys wonder, remind me to tell you why we have an orange grove tree down there sometime. All right, we'll talk about that later. All right. Okay, I'm about ready to switch. So you can unmute yourself because I'm going to ask you this. Oh, sorry.
I got this.
All right, good job. You're way ahead of me. My slide was wrong. All right, I'll do it anyway. This is simple.
I got
this.
You got this. All right, perfect. All right, I'm not going to spend long on this. So here's the ugly truth. All right, you guys, again, this is more tough love, but we're going to get through this fast because I don't like to dwell on it, but I want you to deal in reality. Right now, there are about 1.3 million realtors in the United States. Okay. All right. By the way, that's why we have on K Street in Washington, D.C., where all the lobbyists are, we're listened to. All right. Because we're 1.3 and we're all narcissists and we're loud and we're high eyes and we make noise. All right. So it's not like having 1.3 accountants. 1.3 million accountants, you know, is one thing. 1.3 realtors who are ready to go out there and scream and wave banners and make their, you know, elected officials' life a living hell. All right. It's a different story. All right. So there are 1.3 million realtors in the United States. Catch this. 20%, 260,000 had 0 closings last year. 0. Okay. Got that? 0. 20%. The next 20% averaged 4,600 GCI. GCI, by the way, any new agents out there, GCI is gross commission income. That is before you paid your board dues, before you had to buy a lockbox, before you had to buy a sign, before you had to pay the MLS fees, before you had to join the board, before you had to pay your broker whatever portion of that commission that you did earn, right? All of that, take it off of that. That's before all that, so you're left with nothing, right? Okay, so 40% are pretty much broke, all right? Another 20%, 16,000 GCI, all right? But still pre all these fees, right? So maybe they're netting. Now, again, I've got agents, trust me, we got 1,500 agents at Future Home Realty. Of those 1,500 agents, I've got agents say, hey, look, if I sell 2 homes a year, I'm good. I've already got a retirement coming in. You know, I get to, you know, we go on, if I sell 2 homes as opposed to 1, we go on a better vacation this year, right? Or whatever. And that's totally down with that. I think that's great, right? But I'm assuming you're not one of those if you're spending a Wednesday night here when you could be other places, right? Watching, I don't know, what's on. Anybody? I don't watch TV, so what's on?
Nothing.
Nothing these days.
There you go. Amen. You're talking to the right person. All right. I thought you were going to tell me somebody was giving somebody a rose or something who, right, the batch, who was going to choose who, and that was, you know, like your life evolved around that or something.
We were in the Rays losing the game today.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Good deal. All right.
I didn't watch it. I just heard about it.
All right. So 46,000, the next 20%. Sorry. Oh, by the way, the 60% that I went through first, you know, 0 closings, 4,600, 16,000. Yes. So basically 60% of realtors could qualify for food stamps. Got that? Yep. All right. So when you sit there and say, oh my gosh, 1.3 million realtors, all my competition, BS. No competition, right? 60% of the people are broke, right? They're not doing anything, right? They're not your competition, right? Now we're getting to some people that are GCI, 46,000 GCI, but if you're at the wrong brokerage, all right, and they're taking half your commission, right, you're still looking at, Section 8 qualifying, right? So, it's you got to just beware where you are. But the top two, and we've heard this before, it's called the Pareto principle. It's been around since the Roman gladiator days, all right? Because you know how they came up with Pareto? Pareto was like a Roman or a Greek philosopher, right? Who came up with it. So, this whole thing's new. No, it's not. By the way, that's why I'm not teaching anything new, because there is nothing new, right? There's nothing new under the sun. I'm here to tell you, right? I'm just going to re-emphasize principles that you should already know. All right. Whatever tier you are is solely decided by you. All right. Okay. Unmute yourself. This is simple.
I got this.
Good job. All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to imagine netting, just put your number in there. Imagine netting 100 grand in commission income. Right. And how about this? Imagine enjoying the real estate business. I see your posts on Facebook, right? You guys act like you're pouring you're laying asphalt or working on asphalt roofs or something. You think that, in the middle of July, you guys act like, oh my God, know how hard this business is. The appraisal didn't come in and I'm like, come on, you want hard? Go be a police officer, right?
Yeah, right?
Come on, right? Don't give me hard right now, all right? I'm not buying it. Okay, so you know what? By the way, you're going to learn that I'm probably the most unsympathetic ear you're going to hear, right? So if you're looking for sympathy, if you're looking for I want that, where's that broker that pats my hand and says, it's okay, right? All right, I can do that if you want, right? But, we all raised our hands saying, hey, look, we want to kick this business into teeth. We want to make it happen, right? So I'm going to give you a little more of the tough love. All right, so that being said, quit whining about what you have to do in this business, right? I've done it myself, right? I call it plum disease. It's the poor little old me, right? Nobody wants to hear it. You think everybody wants to hear your problems on social media, and nobody does. The only reason they may read through your entire post is so that they can reply with their own post. Yeah, but what about my problems, right? I'm just telling you, right? People don't care. They might say they do, but they don't. All right. I'm just here. I get it. I know. Okay. I know you guys aren't liking what I'm saying, but too bad. All right. Enjoy the real estate business. How about this? Working. I'm going to get you so busy that you choose who you work with, right? I'm going to show you to get so busy that instead of, when I sold real estate early on, I said that there were clients that I enjoyed and clients that I endured. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. Right. How about if we could fire all the endureds, right? Yeah, exactly. Geraldine, I saw your hands up cheer. That's great. Fire all the endureds and only work with the people who want to work with us, who are going to treat us with dignity. Hey, look, you know what? They expect things out of us. I'm going to do what I say I'm going to do, and they deserve all that, right? But likewise, it's a synergistic relationship. As much as I expect as much as you expect me to do what I'm supposed to do, I expect you to do what you're supposed to do, and we come together and to a common goal and make this happen, right? But we can do that, and you can be a little pickier and choosier, all right? If you can, don't tell my son's AP literature teacher that I said pickier and choosier, all right? So we can be more picky and more choosy, or more discerning. How about that? More discerning. She'd like that one. That's a good one. All right. Okay. Where am I? Control the transaction versus transaction controlling you. I'm going to teach you. I can teach you how to quit putting out fires. Right? How about this? It's kind of appropriate if anybody's in California right now. Instead of running around trying to put out fires, what if we do some control burns on the front side? Right? You know what? Most fires that I see in real estate, right? I'm up against it. Not all, but most are things that could have been nipped in the bud had people had some foresight. All right. Now, sometimes that foresight comes from experience. Don't get me wrong. I get that, right? I was on 3 different calls today with agents who are going through some potential legal issues or some things that they say, this is a little sketchy, and I'm like laying it out saying, hey, look, we got to do this. Your client, you cannot give them that advice. You're going to have your client talk to an attorney about this. And they're like, oh my gosh, what? You always look you keep seeing all the worst things that could happen. I said, yeah, that's a broker's life, right? That's my job, right? I'm designed to try and I can smell lawsuits before they happen, right? There's a certain smell to them, right? And they walked into my nose and I'm like, time out. All right, let's nip this thing in the bud right now. Let's do a control burn on the front side so we have to put out the fire. But how about this? All right, just make this note. This isn't in the PowerPoint. Next time you have a fire to put out, make it part of your system to maybe say, is there something I can do in my system that would have avoided that fire? Are you with me? Okay. And maybe not. I'm not saying every answer that's true, but that's how business people think. I'm going to teach you to run your business like a business, right? And that's how business people think. All right. We're going to control your finances. I like to joke about reading a menu left to right instead of right to left. Right? Anybody know what I mean by that? So here's reading a menu left to right. All right, as opposed to right to left. I have been at stages in my life when I had to read a menu right to left. All right, that means people say, what are you hungry for? And I went over to the price column and I went down and said, that, right? And they're like, what? You don't like arugula? Well, I do tonight because I only got $3.99 in my pocket. So tonight I like arugula, right? I would love the steak, but I don't have the $22.99 for the steak. So I'm eating the arugula tonight, right? So what if we control ourselves? By the way, quick aside, if you need to get your finances under control, right? Part of that is making more money, right? Some of you, because it's flat out, there are many problems that you are having right now that can be solved by 4 extra deals between now and the end of the year. All right, I'm just telling you, it could be a life changer. That's why I love teaching this class, because I know, right? Do you know how cool it is to know that I could help you guys if you could do 4 extra transactions this year than what you were going to do, right? That could be a game changer in your life. And that maybe, I don't know, some of you are on the precipice where, hey, you know what? That might mean keeping your marriage together. That might mean your kid gets to go to college. That might mean, I don't know, right? But knowing that I can help guide you to that it pumps me up, all right? So much so that I just want to say, screw the mask and let's get together because I want to help you. I just want to trick you sometimes and get it going. All right, control your finance. Once in your life, be true to your priorities. Stop saying, I get it. What are your priorities? Bob, what are your priorities? God, family, my church, relationships, all, that kind of stuff and things, my ministries there at the church that I serve on, my civic duties. And then I go down to my, all this kind of stuff. And at the end is, real estate. And then I look at my time invested and it's exactly inverted. Right. Okay. I'm putting all my time in trying to, and so how about if we could find a way, because I can show you how you can be successful in this business without having to spend 70 hours in it, right? You can do this and do it well. All right. We're going to talk about that. We're going to discover your purpose in life. None of you were put on earth to sell real estate. All right. I'm just telling you right now, that is not why God put you here, is to sell real estate, but it could be an ends to a means to an end. Sorry. Could be a means to an end, that a way for you to figure this out. All right. So we're going to talk about that. Creating a residual income from this business. Do you know that is possible? Therein, by the way, we'll talk about this in depth later, but bear in mind, next to that point, write orange trees, right? Do you know that a farmer who owns a very productive orange grove has a residual income? Do you know that? Right? Did you know a farmer who owns a cornfield does not have a residual income? Think about that, and we're going to come back to it later. Okay? By the way, nothing wrong, and we'll tell you why there's some benefit to planting corn, but we're going to talk about that later. This is simple?
I got this.
That's it.
Good job. All right. All right, I'm going to expand it. I'm going to expand so I can see everybody for a minute, or as many as everybody as I can. All right, I think I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 25 of you on right now. So unmute yourself. We're going to do it again. Ready? Unmute. This is simple.
I got this.
All right, good deal. All right, perfect. All right. Amar, are you really listening to me, or are you listening to your favorite hip hop music? All right. Okay, very good. I just want to make sure. I'm going to check up on you every once in a while. All right. Those who don't have your pictures showing, I'm at a little bit of a disadvantage. All right. I'm going to have to trust you here. All right. And like I said, I don't trust very easily. It's hard to con a con. You know what I mean? It's part of it. All right. I got to shrink you back so I can see my PowerPoint. You know what? Next time what I'll do is I should have it so I could have the PowerPoint on here, but have another computer so I actually can see you guys and have my PowerPoint up, or I'll figure out something so I can see better. All right. So sounds, Bob, that all sounds great. Make 100 grand, enjoying the business. All that stuff sounds real. That sounds beautiful. Love it. Here's the problem. I don't believe you, right? If it were that simple, why isn't everybody doing it? Don't give me this, let's get excited and all pumped up and get me all rah-rah, and next thing you know, you're going to drop the hammer on me and said, just buy my 6 CD set for, you know, whatever. Okay, none of that's coming, right? But there is a payday coming, and you're going to have to, and it's going to take you going to work, right? I'm just telling you, that's exactly where we're headed with this. All right. Okay, cool. All right. So sounds great. How are we going to do it? This is simple.
I got this.
I got
All right.
this.
Good deal. All right.
I got this.
Study those. Here's what we're going to do first. We're going to cheat. I'm the best teacher you'd ever had. All right. Okay. I would easily be, you know, I was a high school math teacher back in the day, long time ago now, but I was a high school math teacher. All right. If I'm your teacher today, I'm your favorite teacher. Why? Because I'm giving you permission to cheat, right? People have done this already. People have been successful. Why would we reinvent the wheel, right? You guys act like, oh, by the way, I got all of you, I got 25 of you up, and the ones that are on, that have your cameras up, I can see you. So everybody unmute yourself, and those that have your camera up, raise your right hand. Got it? Right hand, Bernie, there you go. All right. Derecha. All right.
I got this.
Perfect. All right. I know you guys. All right. So then, okay. I don't state your name. Actually say your name. Don't say state your name.
Carolyn.
All right.
Kevin.
Fully understand that my success in real estate has absolutely nothing to do with which CRM I choose.
CRM I choose.
All right, does everybody, will you commit to that, please?
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Okay, if I have to watch somebody spend the first 7 weeks of their real estate career researching CRMs, all right, I'm going to come to your house and throttle you. All right. Okay. Does everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. It doesn't matter. 1993, started my real estate career. And can you see my screen, my picture? All right. What am I holding up?
Notebook.
Yeah. Notepad,
Notebook.
right?
That's
Okay.
your
Notepad.
CRM.
Ready? Watch this. That's not a CRM yet. All right. Now it's a CRM. Right? Okay. Now it's an Excel spreadsheet. All right. By the way, you guys know a CRM is nothing but a very fancy, sexy looking Excel spreadsheet, right?
Right.
Okay. You understand that. It's a database. All right. Genius marketing people have said, hey, look, I could already have Microsoft and I can do Excel, but I'd rather spend $99 a month for a CRM. Right. Okay. Now, don't get me wrong. I get it. They automatically send out birthday emails to your people and all that stuff. Okay. That's all great. All right. So nothing wrong with it. All right. But that's not where you're going to start your first investment in real estate. Okay. Because I'm literally, guys, I started my real estate career, and in the summer as I was teaching, I didn't have to go back to teaching because in 10 weeks, I had four houses closed and another 4 under contract that were going to replace my teaching salary for the next year. All right. So I'm not buying. All right. So nothing wrong with the CRM. If you're loaded with cash and you got nothing else to do, go for it. Or if you got nothing else to do, but if you better be doing it, research your CRM as you're sitting in an open house trying to meet people. Okay. All right. I'll give you that. I'll let you do it if you're going to do that. Fair enough. All right, cool. All right. So there we go. Let me move you guys back over. All right. We're going to study those who have done it. We're going to cheat. All right. We're just going to look at other people that are successful. All right. We're going to not reinvent the wheel. We're going to learn from others in the room. So from others and each other, right? We've got 28, 30, whatever people in here, right? We're going to help each other. Because as I'm just looking at the crowd here, Dave has a skill set that Carolina doesn't, and Carolina has a skill set that Cynthia doesn't, and Cynthia has a skill set that Pablo doesn't. And so with all that in mind, as we collude together and we help each other because we're dealing from a sense of abundance, there's plenty for all. And here's a mantra for you. The answer I give today is the answer I get tomorrow, right? That if I can lend my expertise to somebody, someone's going to lend their expertise to me. And quite frankly, the people who do business with Amar are not even those circles, that Venn diagram. There's the math teacher in me. Here's Amar's clientele. Here's Barbara Ann's clientele. Those people, if they intersect at all, that sliver is so small, it's inconsequential, right? So there's no fear for Amar to help Barbara Ann with something and Barbara Ann to help Nancy, because Nancy's circle doesn't dip into Barbara's circle anyway. Does that make sense? Right? Mm-hmm. So there's plenty for all. And you're going to see, if you guys are already member 100K Club on the Facebook page, you'll see where people are helping each other like nobody's business on that page. It's incredible. All right. It brings a tear to my eye to see how you guys help each other out. It's awesome, right? It is. It really is. All right. It's incredible to see that happen. All right. So we're going to learn from others in the room. We're going to submit to the law of the harvest. All right. There's some laws that you cannot argue with. Gravity's one. Don't try it. Right. The law of the harvest is another one. Right. Do not argue with the law of the harvest. The law of the harvest. You guys unmute yourself because you probably know the answer to this. That if I want to reap, I must first. Thank you. All right. You guys know the answer. See, why do I have to teach this class? You guys already know it. Right. Okay. The answer is that you cannot expect a harvest. Only a fool expects a harvest without sowing. Right.
Right.
Can't. Right. It's not the way the world was made. Right. That's the bad news. The good news is that if I sow, I will reap, right? If I follow the recipe, I am a terrible, terrible cook, right? But I can read, right? And I read and I follow these things that Marley Spoon put out. Marley Spoon's like a high-end Blue Apron or whatever that was, right? Okay. They have really cool ingredients. It's and I'm like, what? And they give me this little card, and I get all this stuff, and I got prepackaged, rosemary and thyme, and I have to zest lemons. I've never zested a lemon in my life. You ever zest a lemon? I'm like, come on. like 1/8 of a teaspoon, 1/8 of a teaspoon of zested lemon, really? Come on, you're telling me that's going to make that big of a difference?
It does.
Right? It does. You're right. I'm like, holy smokes, right? But now I'm like, dadgum, man, bring it on. I'm Wolfgang Puck, right? I'm like, just because I can flip and read a recipe card and follow instructions, right? So that's all I'm asking you to do, right? Just follow instructions. Don't question the recipe. Just follow the instructions. Agreed? Will you do that? All right. Because if you will, it'll work. I'm telling you. Okay. There you go. You got this. All right. It is that simple. All right. Here's one. We're going to learn from our mistakes, and that's okay. Right. It's okay to make mistakes. One of my favorite proverbs is, I read a proverb every day, by the way. This is a good, by you guys, if you're ever looking, by the way, remember, you don't agree not to be offended. All right. If you're one of the de-churched, I get it. All right. There are plenty of reasons to be de-churched in America, right? Because churches are, you know why churches are all screwed up? Because they're filled with
people.
People, you and I, right? Okay. Right. So when you find the perfect church, don't go. Because if it is perfect, the minute you walk in the door, it's no longer perfect, right? Okay? So we can't deal with that, right? So, so when I bring up religion, you agree not to be offended. Just mute me for a while or whatever, and I get it, right? Because I get everybody comes from a different worldview and all that stuff, right? But it's part of who I am, right? So I can't keep it in, right? So, but here's one of my favorite proverbs, and the reason I read, proverb a day, is there are 31 proverbs, and I just read a proverb that coincides with the day of the month, right? Like, so today, this morning, I got up and I read Proverbs 16, right? And so I read, so I end up reading through the Proverbs once a month, 12 times a year. And it's kind of a, I do other Bible reading as well, but that's a good thing for me to start in the morning. You ever read the Proverbs, by the way? Go back, try it. It's awesome stuff, man. You talk about life.
I can't get into them.
What's that?
I said, I can't get into them.
That's all. How about this one, right? One of my favorite proverbs I was going to bring up is, where there are no oxen, the stable is clean, right? What does that mean, right? It's like, okay, so I was thinking about that. Where there are no oxen, the stable is clean. It's like, okay, so Solomon, David's son, wrote that in the Babylonian era, right? Whenever that was, 400, 600 BC, whenever that was, right?
Right.
And oxen meant wealth. Right, that's how you knew somebody. That was part of their wealth, was having cattle on 1,000 hills. Right, you've heard that term. Right, okay, so you have that. But what they said, what he's implying is that, hey, look, if you've got really clean stables, it means you probably have no oxen. Right? Because when you have oxen, stuff's going to happen. Right? I'll walk around. Back in the day when we used to actually come into the office. Right? Remember those days? Oh, remember those days? All right, okay. Or we'd have office meetings in person, right? And I'd see them and I'd say, hey, how's it going? Great. Any issues with your deals? None. How many deals you got going? None. So of course, right? That's why, it's okay to have issues, because one, right, that means you're doing something and you have some messy stables, right? But there's other, what are some of my other favorite proverbs? How about this one? Better to keep your mouth silent and people assume you a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt.
Nice. Heard that one before.
It's in the Bible. All right, that's awesome, right? Okay, people think, oh, that's really pithy. Well, guess what? Written in 600 BC. All right, so it's good stuff. So anyway, and Geraldine, you're fine. You don't have to read the Proverbs. It's not an assignment to do. All right, to go. So we're going to learn from our mistakes, because when we have mistakes, all right, that happens. Barbara Ann, you got something?
Yeah, I was going to say, what I started doing is in the morning when I wake up, I just go to audio for the proverb of the day.
Cool. That's awesome.
Even before I get out of bed, like I usually have it going while I do my exercises that I do
nice.
before I get up.
That's a great idea. That's right there is worth its weight in gold right there. I love that. Just get a little audio version of it.
Yeah, and then it ends up going to the different translations. So it goes through like four different translations of the same proverb.
It's hard to get as motivated about the King James these and thous, right? Whither soest thou ist with the catalyst, right?
Well, I grew up with it, so
yeah. So you can
the King James, because I was like, I don't understand, and I would be said, well, as you get more mature, you're going to understand it. So, but it's
what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say to me? What are you trying to say?
No, I was just saying, when I was in Bible school, though, I had a New International Study Bible in seminary.
That's funny. Too good. All right, so here's the deal. We're going to commit to grow personally. Remember I told you that we're going to stop chasing and start attracting? Remember I said that? Right? Mm-hmm. But if we're going to attract people, we have to be attractive. Are you ready? This isn't written down yet, so this is a place if you're taking notes. If you're taking notes on your CRM, right, then then you can write this down. I'm going to show you how, we call it the 5 LYs, right? You ready? I'm going to teach you how to grow in the 4 LYs, and it's going to lead you to the 5th LY, right? We are going to grow spiritually, whatever that means to you, right? Okay, spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, physically, and actually we're going to shrink physically, not grow physically, but you know what I mean, okay? For most of us, some of us need to grow physically, but that's all right. So you're with me? So we said spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, physically, we're going to get better with our habits, right? In all these areas, we're going to grow. And when we take care of those 4, The fifth one that comes along as a byproduct.
Financially.
This is the sowing. There you go. Who said it?
Kevin.
Kevin, good job. Financially, right? That's the harvest. This is the sowing, right? That financially is the reaping. Are you with me? But it's not fun. I told you, sometimes we have to dig in. We're growing emotionally. That's when we get on the psychiatrist couch, right? And like, oh God, this sucks, man. Right? I have to go back to that. I thought I was over this, right? Well, if you're over it, it wouldn't be such an issue today. So maybe we're fooling ourselves, right? To go. All right. So we're going to grow in those areas. We're going to feed off the synergy of the room, right? Because people start making things happen. Carolina's going to come on and tell us she sold 14 homes this month. And we're like, dad gum, let's go. Right. And we're going to look at Carolina and say, man, if Carolina can do it, I can do it. All right. Right. We're just motivating each other. Stop making and accepting your lame excuses. This is how we're going to do it. Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, I thought I was going to, and by the way, we're going to get an accountability partner. And right now you got to start thinking about an accountability partner who's not going to listen to your excuse, right? Here's the kind of accountability partner you need. You need an accountability partner that says, okay, we're going to get back together next week. And here's what you're going to do. A, B, C, and D, right? Are you agreeing to that? Yes, it's an agreed upon. We set that goal together and I'm going to do E, F, G, and H, right? So it's a synergistic relationship. And the next time you get back together, you need an accountability partner that when you come back to them and said, well, I did half of A, none of B, I didn't really get to C. And but here's why. My daughter got strep. My son, cut himself at soccer practice, and you need an accountability partner who says, hey, you know what? We said A, B, C, and D, not if you woke up and there was a unicorn in your front yard this, morning, right? Everything, and there was a rainbow over the unicorn and the world was perfect, right? That's why the one advantage of doing these on Zoom is that, when we did them live, it was like, oh, Bob, I tried to come, but there was an accident on and then next and 275 and and there was flooding in South Tampa and my Orlando agent said, oh, I-4 was a mess. Yeah, you think? I-4's been a mess for since I've been alive, right? Okay, so quit acting like it's a shock, right, Nick? Right?
Yeah, right.
yeah. It's like, come on. All right. So here we go. So, all right. So are you with me on that? Okay. Stop accepting our lame excuses. We're going to live in accountability. I covered that just now. All right. We're going to be accountable. It's not fun. Right. By the way, Jeanette, all right, is my accountability partner. And there are inherent dangers in being married to your accountability partner. Right. I got 2 words for it. Well, 3 words, right? Guest bedroom. That's 2 words. I just said, okay. All right. You talk about accountability, right? Okay. Try sleeping on the guest bedroom, because the guest bedroom, as much as nice as you make it doesn't have the same mattress as the main bedroom. Come on. We all know that, right? Because you don't want it to be too comfy, because then your guests would stay too long. All right. But it's, and so it is what it is. So have a good accountability partner. All right. Turn off the television, which you guys said you guys have already done. So you guys are already on that, right? Nothing good on there anyway. 5,042 channels of nothing. All right. Live a disciplined life. Here's one of my favorite. We hashtag a lot, even though I've never been on Twitter, but I know I'm supposed to put a hashtag in front of things. Cody, you there?
I'm here.
All right. So Cody is my resident millennial teaching me Twitter ethics, right? Or what's the word I'm looking for?
Etiquette.
Etiquette. Thank you. The Twitter etiquette, because I was putting punctuation into my hashtags, and it was breaking up the flow of it, right, Cody? So maybe we'll have you step in and give us a 10-minute Twitter lesson. Is that cool?
For it.
Very beautiful. All right. But here's a hashtag for you. There's freedom in structure, right? Hashtag freedom in structure. Sounds oxymoronic, right? Like, wait. So you're saying, how do I get free by being more structured? Well, the reality is it's true, right? And a lot of us can agree to that. that when I discipline myself to say, hey, you know what, I'm going to shut everything else down and I'm going to do X for the next 45 minutes, you're way more productive in a focused 45 minutes on X than you are in 3.5 hours on doing 6 different things at once. All right. I'm just telling you, right? You can argue with it. It's like the law of the harvest and you know, gravity, right? You can't, it works, right? So if we can structure ourselves, we can become free. I'm just telling you, right? I told you I'm in Nashville right now, right? So we've had a home in Nashville, home in Florida for a while. But early on, when we first moved to Nashville and I was growing the future home in Florida as much as I was, right? I still fly back, by the way. I was in Florida last week. I'll be back in Florida again next week. Somebody asked the other day on somebody said, who's gone on a flight since the pandemic? I'm like, yeah, 20 of them. It's great right now. But if you haven't flown, Southwest is like flying first class. It's like no middle seats. The fares are like $79 each way. The airports are cleaner than they've ever been, right? Ever. Orlando Airport, clean as a whistle, right? Nashville, Tampa, clean. The planes are cleaner than they've ever been. I'm like, right on. Give me some more of this. You got stay afraid and stay away. I'm going to keep flying like this, right? I go through TSA pre-check in about 38 seconds, right? It's awesome, right? It's a beautiful thing. So disciplined life, right? So we're going to be disciplined in what here's what I was saying is that Joseph, when he was real young, I told you Joseph's a senior now, but 10 years ago when I was building the business and coming down to Tampa every week, right? And still living in, kind of flying home for the weekends. And I'd say, hey buddy, I'm going to take off early in the morning. So, and I would tuck him in. I said, I'll probably be gone before you get up. And I said, oh, you got another trip again? I said, yeah, but, and he goes, I know. My great grandkids are going to be able to live off of the money you're going to make by going down to Florida now, right? Therein lies the residual income, right? That's what we want to think about as business people. And I've sold him on that if I can be disciplined now, we're going to have a lot more freedom later, including freedom to, hey, look, you know what? He's a sharp guy and he's being courted by some really high-end schools, right? But can we afford it? It's not even in the equation. But 10 years ago, it was in the equation. But I had enough foresight to put in the work to now I can reap a harvest, right? I want the same for you guys. All right? I'm not saying that to toot my own horn or whatever. That's a kind of old school, right? Whatever I'm doing, pat my own back or whatever. I'm just telling you, you guys can have this, all right? It is available to you, all right? Freedom and structure, all right? Actually implement this time. Do it. Can I tell you this? Let me see everybody's faces again. Got everybody on. Those of you, I don't have your picture. I don't know if you're really on with us or not, but that's all right. All right. Here's the deal. You already know what to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Literally, if I put you in a headlock right now and said, hey, tell me the first 3 things you need to do to try and get a contract in the next week, right? You could probably spit it out. I said, I'm going to keep squeezing. I've been working out, right? I'm going to keep squeezing. My birthday's coming up and there's a goal. I got 2 more pounds to lose because every birthday, my scale has to say the same it did as the day I graduated from college, right? That's all right. And I'm 2 pounds over right now. So I've got 4 days left, right? So I'm going to, so I've been working out, so I'm going to squeeze. By the way, I've been doing yoga. All right. Been doing my running and stuff too. I am telling you, man. You know what? You guys know what my favorite pose is? You yoga people, anybody? Shavasana.
Shavasana.
Which is the one where you just lay up flat on your back and you're like, oh, okay, release your body. that's the end one. I said, I'm like, give me the Shavasana. I'm like, how many more minutes to Shavasana? I can only warrior 2 for so long, right? Like down dog again. Holy smokes. Cobra of this lady. I'm like, geez, right? Anyway. Okay. And I do it online. There's a great app that I have that tells me how to do it. how do I get off on these things? All right, so where am I? Actually implement this time. All right, so we're going to do it. Here's what you guys already know. You know the secret. If I was going to squeeze your head, right, and tell me what you're going to do, tell me what you're going to do, tell me what you're going to do, you'd spit it out and it'd be right, right? Before I cut off your airflow. You would have the answer because you know to do it. What the problem is, here's a hashtag for you, a long one, all right, and I'll leave the punctuation out, all right? What to do is not the problem. To do is the problem, right? We guys know what to do. How do I help you to do, right? And that's what we're going to do. That's why the group dynamic is so helpful, right? That's why we can come together and help each other and say, hey, look, you know what, Kevin, I get it, but you know what? We're not going to take your excuse. I'm sorry. You committed to this, right? Here's what we're going to do, right? And let's go make it happen. All right. So actually implement this time. I added this one. If you've been in this one, I just added this afternoon. All right. Okay. I got this literally. I'm not going to name any names. I got a complaint email from another broker about one of our agents on something, right? And I looked at the end of her signature, and it was Susie Smith. Not really, right? Susie Smith, broker. And then literally, this is the most. I have never seen this many designations. All right. I don't even know what some of these are. Do you guys? I know GRI, CIPS, SRES, SFR, Green. CIPS, she listed it twice. That's cheating. Look, because I copied and pasted it from her email. All right. She listed CIPS twice to see if we were paying attention. ABR, SRS, Renee. What is that? What's
What's
Renee?
that?
Never heard of it.
Okay. PSA. That's a public service announcement. Right?
PSA, don't do this.
CRB, MRP, AWHD. I was like, holy smokes, lady. Right? How about quit going to class and go sell real estate? Right? Now, and again, people are laughing at me and said, I never thought I'd hear this from a real estate broker trying to teach his agent. There's nothing wrong with educating yourself. But here's the thing. Here's another hashtag for you. Hashtag stop going bagel to bagel. Right? And here's what I mean by that. It's not so much anymore, but virtually, you could wake up tomorrow morning and have 15 different Zoom trainings to choose from. Agreed?
Right.
Right? Okay? Easily. Right? You had to choose this one. This is one that you could choose as well, right? So you had 15 different ones to choose from, all right? All probably valid, nothing wrong with them, right? But if they're taking away the time that you need to do to service a client or go meet a new client or go figure out how to get people in front of you so you can get a new client, right? Where's that designation, right? How about go sell a home designation, right? Go sell a home, the GSAH. All right. Let's get that's what we're going to get is we're going to figure out the GSAH designation. Actually, you know what? In my life, I already cut. You see my next bullet point there. Instead, focus on this: success for your client and this designation. $sign, $sign. Right? That's the only designation I ever cared about. You know, and people say, "Well, it's all about the money." But, you know, my mom, she was alive when I started selling real estate, right? And she's no longer with us, but Bob, all you do is think about money. I said, well, Mom, you're kind of right because I don't have enough, right? So the more I have, though, the less I think about it. It's kind of nice, right? It's weird how that works, right? So I'm going to go figure it out and get to a point where I don't have to think about it so much, right? And I'm here to tell you, you're going to see later on that it is not about how much money you make in this business. I get it, right? It's not, but there are many people who have problems that we talked about before that could be overcome or certainly a long way helpful an extra 4 transactions between now and the end of the year. All right. Okay. So and not the 4 that you already have in the bag. I'm talking an extra 4 that you're going to learn from doing what we're doing here. Cool. All right. There we go. Trust the process. And there's a Marley spoon. That's the ingredients thing, right? We're not going to lie. We're not going to look at the recipe and say, what if I just leave out the zest lemon? Right? No, it doesn't work. Right? Can't do it. Right? It doesn't. You know, there were things I was like, they were sending me ingredients. I didn't even know what they were. I'm like, really? Never heard of that. Okay, it's kind of cool. I mean, I made succotash the other night. Okay,
Cool.
awesome. Had lima beans and some tomatoes and corn all in there. It was like, holy cow. I'll date myself again. The only succotash I remember was Sylvester the cat. It's a suffering succotash, right? Do you guys remember that? Okay, all right. So again, our young ones are like, oh, what in the world is cartoons? All right. If it's not South Park, that's the only cartoons they know is South Park. It's like, that's not a cartoon. That's
not a cartoon.
That's an adult show, animated adult show. All right. Trust the process, use quality ingredients. Consistently evaluate progress. A trip to the moon. You guys have seen this. Those of you who are new, you get to be excited about this. Those of you who've seen it for the 15th time, bear with me. All right. I love this slide. Okay. We call it a trip to the moon. And here's what it is. We have to evaluate our progress more often. We are good at setting goals. We're terrible at evaluating where we are in correlation to where we're supposed to be, right? January 1st, you guys are great. And by the way, you think they don't know? Come November and early December, you wait till how many planner ads you see in your social media feed, right? Because if I just had the right planner, whew, that would do it for me, right? Last year I had the kind of the brown rawhide, but if I had that more reddish rawhide this year on my planner, then that would be the secret. I guarantee I would kill it this year if I could just get the red rawhide planner, right? And they're all going to tell you all these magical things that it does, and it's the problem is it's like the gym membership, right? The gym. Like they do not have a limit on how many memberships they will sell. They do not. They might tell you they do. They sell unlimited. And even if you're ticked off, once we get to the point where we can go to the gym again, right? Even if you're ticked off for the first 3 weeks of January, they know that come the 4th week of January, the place is empty.
Right.
Right? Okay. Dadgummit, there's not enough ellipticals. Man, I can't get a treadmill. January 10th. All right. You walk in January 24th and it's like a ghost town. Like, right on, I got the place to myself, right? Okay. And they know that. All right. Let's not be that. Let's dig in and let's finish, right? Let's evaluate our progress. Let's stay consistent. So here's why we call it a trip to the moon. Here, I love this. All right. So we think that's what a trip to the moon looks like, right? Nice smooth parabola, shooting a rocket up, and go, right? Here's the reality. That box that's on the trip, if I blew that up, like if I said that's a 5-second portion of the trip, right? And I've magnified it 1,000 times, that bigger box, that's actually what the trip looks like. Because they know, there's some really smart people at NASA have figured out that they've got to constantly monitor how they're doing. Like, we're off, yeah, tick, yeah, a little bit. Oh, kick it. You know what I mean? They have to, because they know, right? Yeah, you got to recalibrate. Exactly, right? It's kind of like your, one of the agents a couple of years ago told me it's like, your Google Maps, right? It's like, when you get off course, it starts saying, okay, recalibrating. Hang on. All right, I'll give you directions in a minute. I got to figure out where the heck you are, right? It's kind of what Google Maps is saying, right? And so same thing, but we can't wait. What if all of a sudden we muted Google Maps for 5 hours, right? And realized that we were in Albuquerque, right, Lori, when we were supposed to be in Prescott or wherever, and that's a problem, right? Okay, not that it can't be corrected, but it's a bigger correction to make, right, than it would be if we had caught ourselves when we were only 5 minutes into our off course. Are you with me? So we're going to evaluate our progress more often because we need to do it as often as possible. That's why when you hear me talk about a trip to the moon, that's what I mean, is that we're going to do it more often. We're going to learn some rituals that we call rituals. One of them is called the Sunday night ritual, which is going to be evaluating our previous week, analyzing our upcoming week, or Gene Bryan, it could be the Friday afternoon ritual, right? As Gene's part of our book club that we just talked about this on Tuesday, right? So that's all good to go, all right? That's one of my favorite slides is don't be afraid. When you hear me talk trip to the moon, it means we're going to evaluate our progress. We're not going to wait, because here's what I know. I'm going to see your faces again. Here's what I know. Realtors, January 1, this is it. This is the year. I'm going to set the goals. Dad, come hell or high water. Here we go. All right. And then they never look at those goals again until about sometime Thanksgiving-ish, right? Okay. And they sit there and say, okay, let me get off these goals. And they dust them off, right? And they're like, holy smoke, okay. All right. I'm supposed to sell 30 homes this year. All right, well, where am I? I've sold 3.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got 5 weeks to sell 27. All right. You can't correct. Am I with you? Are you with me? I'm with you, but are you with me? Right? Okay.
Yes.
Right? You can't, that's too big a correction. But if I caught myself after week 2 that said, hey, 30 means I need to do roughly 2.5 a month-ish, right? And so at 2 weeks in, I should at least have 1 under contract right now. Right? I'm not. What am I going to do differently? Is it what I'm doing not working? So what do I need to change? Right? Let's make some adjustments. Let's make a series of small adjustments rather than have to worry about some big, huge. Let me put it this way. I told you I need to lose 2 pounds, but do you know that it's easier to lose 2 than 20?
Yes. Yes,
Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
No?
of course.
Oh yeah, come on. How you go, Bob, tell me something I don't know, right? There's many of us who are afraid to step on the scale because we know we're at 20. Right? I'm just telling you, right? And take that to every area of your life, right? That we can't wait until we're so far behind because it becomes so frustrating that we do, and then we start to beat ourselves up, right? And we're like, oh my gosh, what a loser you are. You know, your red rawhide planner obviously wasn't working, right? And it's just, right? You know what? If everything seems to be going right, you've obviously overlooked something. All the negative starts coming back. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm 6 years old again, right? It's bad news, right? So instead, let's catch ourselves and see if we can make it happen. All right? Are you with me? All right. So that's what I mean by trip to the moon. All right. Cool. All right. So all that being said, I've got about 20 minutes to finish this up for you guys. Here's what we're going to do. I talked about the law of the harvest earlier, right? System 1, I'm going to teach you 2 systems. 1 is called corn planting, right? I'm going to show you how to get new business out of thin air. Business you do not have right now, people who don't know you and you don't know them.
Cool.
All right? Who's in?
I'm in.
I am.
All right, good. All right. Here's what you got to do. You say that now. Okay. All right, but look out. We got 2 people raising their hand. All right. Unmute yourself. This is simple.
I got
Got
this.
it.
We got it. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Here's why I like corn. Remember I told you why I didn't like corn before, because corn is not it's an annual. Residual. It's not a perennial. Yeah, yeah, right. Exactly. No residual to it, right? If you plant corn and you go and plant it, the good news, let me give you the good news first about corn. Good news about corn is, I don't know if you've ever planted corn, but it's like, holy smokes, right? You plant corn late May, early June, and you're eating corn by late July, early August.
Right.
Right? Seriously. All right. From seed to mouth, it's about a 10-week process, right? It's like, holy smokes, man. Once it sprouts out of the ground, you can almost watch it grow, right? It's awesome. Okay. That's the great news about corn. Bad news about corn, and Kevin hit the nail on the head, is it never stays done, right? In order to harvest corn, I have to cut it down. I go back to that field next year and I say, field, where's my corn? And the field says, where's my seed? Where's my water? Where's my sowing? Where's my fertilizer? Where's my hoeing? And I'm like, every year? It's like, yeah, every year, right? Okay. If you want corn, like, oh, geez, right? So that's the bad news about corn. The good news, though, is I've got some of you online right now that say, hey, look, I need a 10-week commission cycle, right? Okay. People are knocking at my door, and I need a commission yesterday, right? Okay, and I get that. So I'm going to show you how to plant some corn, because sometimes corn, and by the way, we're going to show you how to plant some really cool corn. I got corn that even when you harvest it, it's like magical. It's Narnia. You ever read the Chronicles of Narnia from C.S. Lewis? Okay, it's magical corn that morphs into an orange tree. All right, it's amazing. I'm going to show you. I've just got this, magician's nephew kind of potion rings and stuff like that to get this done. All right. So, so here's the corn. All right. Simple. I got this. Let's do things backwards. Here's what, if you've been to any other real estate training, you have heard this line. if you're going to last in this business, you better, anybody?
List.
Right?
List.
List. You have to list. You got to list, especially right now, right? Holy word,
Yeah.
who in the world wouldn't want to list? Gee, many Christmas. It sells before I hit the final
Get the
button that says
sign
go
in.
live, right? It's like, yeah, holy gosh, it's gone, right? Awesome. Okay. Here's the problem. Brand new agent. Let's see. James, are you still with me?
Yep.
James, okay. James is a brand new agent, right? If he goes to Century 21 and they train him up and they say, James, go list. It's like, okay, any ideas? Right? They're like, oh, just, get your Christmas card list out. Let everybody know. Get your church directory, and your church directory, 40% of your church directory are realtors, right? And you're like, what the heck? This is not working, right? So let me engage with me on one quick call or one quick story for literally 3 minutes. All right. Imagine this. All right. So little Susan graduates from USF and she decides to get her real estate license, right? She goes to get a real estate license and she says, all right, I'm going to go do this. And she has a friend that, or somehow, some way, she has a friend of a friend to somebody who she works out with at the gym that knows somebody who knows this lady who's looking to sell her home in South Tampa, right? So she gets an up, right? Yeah, and she said she's new in the business. I'll give her a shot, right? Okay. So she goes down and she learns her Coldwell Banker listing presentation, all right? And here's where I will stand up, and does her little list with me, Coldwell Banker is the best you're gonna be, right? Okay. Does her little listing dance, right? And then gets done and says, ta-da, right? And they sit there and they say, nice lady, right? This lady says, honey, and she starts to hand pat, all right? And if you get the hand pat, you're screwed.
You're done.
Right? Okay, right? I really like you, James. I really like you. You seem like a nice young man. You start to get that kind of, those are not buy signs, by the way. All right. Okay. Everybody understands that, right? You seem like a nice young man, but Smith and Associates and who else was in there before them? Who else is the big one down there? The boutique in South Tampa. We've got Smith.
Realty.
What's that? Tambay. Who's that? Tony Everett Group, right? Yeah, right. Okay. All these people had said, hey, look, we just listed Derek Jeter's home, right? Right. So, you could go with little James who hasn't listed a home and quite frankly, James or Susan, all right, who's brand new, you got the up and you did a great job with your presentation. There's nothing wrong with it at all. But they sit there and say, so how many homes have you sold in South Tampa? And James is like, well, if I sell yours, that'll be one, right? Okay, right? Something like that. And it's a great idea to go get that listing. But the reality is, and you can't blame it if it's a $1.4 million home and we're talking about a $6,000 to $84,000 commission, right, that's going out the door. The lady's not dumb, and she's going to say, hey, you know what, James, as much as I like you and you're a nice young man, 84 grand's a lot of jack, all right? It's amazing how 84-year-old ladies talk like 84,000 is a lot of jack, because it is a lot of jack, right, for an 84-year-old lady, right?
Yes.
And I'm going to trust Tony Everett, or I'm going to trust Smith and Associates, or you know what I mean? It's just natural that they would, right? So instead, what if we taught James backwards? So James, you don't mind me using as our example, do you?
Not at all.
All right. So instead, James came to this class, which he's here now, and he said, Bob, what are we going to do? And Bob said, we are going to, work with buyers first. Everybody else tells you to list. I'm going to show you how to go work with buyers. So he goes, all right, whatever. I'm going to believe this dude. I don't know why. All right. But he sold 8 homes in 10 weeks when he first got into business with nobody teaching him. So I think I'll listen. Right. So here's what I do. I teach James to go sit a bank foreclosure open house. Right. Where all of a sudden he meets 22 people coming through, because everybody, when you put bank foreclosure on a sign, they think they're right? And it's not the case, but you meet more people. So he gets more ups, and he finds this other person who graduated from USF, and James says, oh, I graduated from UCF, and I graduated from USF. Oh, really? So and so they get going, and so meets this nice young guy, and he helps this guy buy his first home. It's a $122,000 condo in Town and Country, and it's guys got to lighten up a little bit over there. Jeez. All right. Okay. Town and Country, and it's all good, right? So he finds this $122,000 home. Everything's great. Okay. Gets him in, first time home buyer money, bond, down payment assistant. He works his tail off to get this commission done and gets his sale, right? All right. So done. Sells Mike a townhome in Town and Country, right? Flash forward 6 months from now. Mike has graduated from USF, goes to Thanksgiving dinner, and guess where he goes to Thanksgiving dinner? South Tampa, to this lady named Gertrude, his aunt, right? And Aunt Gertie's there and says, Mike, I'm so proud of you. I can't now hand patting your nephew is a good thing, right? Mike, I'm so proud of you. I can't believe you've graduated. You've got your first job. You bought your first home. That is amazing. I can't believe it. How in the world did you buy your first home? Already only being a 22-year-old recently graduated college student. Oh, I met this dude, James, or he's an aunt, and it's Thanksgiving, so he doesn't say dude. He's more formal, right? I met this nice guy, James, who helped me buy my first home. He introduced me. You should have seen the way he worked. And Aunt Gertie says, now that your Uncle John has passed on, I'm thinking about selling. This place is a little big for me. Do you think your friend James might be willing to come help me sell my home? Right? So James comes in, and he's not one of five anymore. He is the only guy coming in. So even if he trips up in his little Caldwell Banker dance, or it'll be the Future Home Realty dance, right? But even if he trips up in his Future Home Realty dance, all right, as he's doing it, she's already in. Why? Because James took care of her nephew, Mike, right? It's a done deal, right? And so guess what happens? James lists the place, puts it on the market for 1.4, and the top agent at Smith & Associates and Tony Everett herself wake up the next morning, and they get a report delivered to with their coffee and a handwritten report from their assistant that says, here's everything that's new on the market south of Kennedy, west of, or east of West Shore, in our target area, ma'am, right? And so Tony Everett, and she spits out her coffee. Who is James? Future who? What? How? And she says, what? She says, welcome to Florida. WTF.
I love that.
She says, what the heck just happened here? Right? Don't they know that I listed Derek Jeter's home? Right? Don't they know that if you're going to list in South Tampa, you at least have to interview me? Right? Don't they know? And they won. I'm just telling you, we worked the system backwards. Instead of trying to fight and I could lie to James and say, hey, James, go knock on doors in South Tampa, and you got a great chance of getting that listing. All right, but I don't believe it. I'm sorry, James is great, but I know what because I know how people think, right? And I would think the same way. But if you could go earn the right on the front side and get the intro and get the side door entrance into this listing, bam, that's how it's going to work. I'm just telling you. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to teach you to work with buyers, and we're going to do it with what we call traffic generating events. Here's a long hashtag. You ready? Okay. Eyeball to eyeball beats pixel to eyeball every day of the week. All right. I told you it's long. All right. You ready? I'm going to say it again. Eyeball to eyeball beats pixel to eyeball every day of the week. Right? So what is a traffic generating event? Anything you can do to get eyeball to eyeball with people. Right? I mentioned bank foreclosure open houses. Why? That's how I sold 8 homes in 10 weeks. all right, in 1993. Dave DeBow taught me how to do it, Lori.
Oh boy.
All right. And I'll forever be grateful, to that, because he got me out of teaching geometry. Right. Okay. I'm just telling you. Right. And so with that in mind, though, but I got really good. He just gave me the idea, and I got really good at converting people who were walking in and they were eyeball to eyeball. Now, I didn't have to worry about pixel to eyeball back in 1993. Right.
All right.
But you do today. But I will tell you this, that if you're sitting at a bank foreclosure open house and the person is going to Lowe's to pick up a new trash can, and they see your bank foreclosure open house sign and say, hey, let me pop in. Before they decided to go buy a new trash can at Lowe's, they had been all morning on Zillow looking in this certain neighborhood, right? And every time they opened up any listing on Zillow, this same dude gal kept showing up. Susie Smith, Realtor of the Year. Susie Smith, Realtor of the Year. Susie Smith, because Susie Smith has paid Zillow $8,000 a month
Right.
to be Susie Smith, Realtor of the Year sidebar in that zip code. Are you with me? Right? So she spent $8,000 just so that, oh, Susie Smith, Susie Smith, Susie Smith, Susie Smith. So he's got Susie Smith on the brain, right? But he goes in and he, on the way to Lowe's, sees my bank foreclosure open house sign, walks in the door and gets a chance to, I would say, shake my hand, but maybe elbow bump me. All right. Okay. We elbow bump me. It's a COVID edition of 100K right now. Okay. So we'll elbow bump each other. All right. I win every time. And guess how much it costs me? Not $8,000. All right. My original signs, because they were HUD foreclosures, long story. It had to say government resale open house. It couldn't say bank foreclosure. All right. But my original signs, it was a $128 investment. All right. And they lasted me about 7 years. Right. Those same government foreclosure open house signs. And I, within about 3.5 years, was selling 100 homes a year from people I met at open houses. Why? I was good. Twofold. All right, let's go back to this. Yeah, the key is traffic, guys. The key is traffic. I'm going to sit in an open house at this really cool home, Derek Jeter's home, right? All right, whatever. Well, you're not, because people might come to that one just because they want to see Derek Jeter's home, right? But I'm talking, if you want the most accessible traffic generating place you can find, right? I'm telling you, you don't want one where, hey, I didn't have anybody at my open house. Well, what was it? Well, it's this townhome community. They had to go through 4 curves, 7 roundabouts, and they got to the gate, and then they had to call me to get the gate code. Like, yeah, wrong. All right. It's not like, hey, let's make them run the gauntlet before they can get to me. All right. Okay. I want it as easy as possible to find me. Now, it may not be open houses. I don't care. It might be setting up a booth at your church bazaar, right? Okay. It might be joining a yoga class because you get to meet more people that way. It might be, and don't wait, Shavasana is where you want to get, by the way. Okay, don't forget, if you ever start yoga, Shavasana is what you're looking for. All right, okay. All this other stuff, you know, lizard pose and all this other kind of stuff. I'm like, holy smokes, if I could get into that pose, how do I get out? Right? That's my problem. I'm getting better, though. I really am. And I'm feeling better, too. All that being said, we want to just generate traffic. And then after we generate the traffic, though, and by the way, I'm just introducing this. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I'm going to show you how to do this, right? Upcoming meetings, we're going to show you how to get this done. All right? So traffic generating events, bank-owned open houses, I talked about that, or whatever you decide. But then once you have the traffic, all the traffic in the world, here's a hashtag, I just made it up, right? I'm good at this. All right? All the traffic in the world unconverted is a waste of time. All right? How's that hashtag? Starts to go into 4 lines. All right, Cody, how many lines is accessible? Is acceptable?
I was going to say it's questionable, Bob. But
Good deal. All right. But all the traffic in the world unconverted is a waste of time, right? You've got to get good at converting people. And now I got good at converting people. I truly believed I had something they needed and they didn't have. Right? Knowledge and integrity that they need in a real estate consultant. James, you and I talked about it on the phone yesterday, right? That we don't like to call ourselves real estate salespeople, but real estate consultants.
Absolutely.
Because when I'm a consultant, I truly have the needs of my client and their best interest in my heart, right? Even if that means talking them out of buying something sometimes, right? Okay. Hey, we could maybe twist you into pretzel and really I got these magic tricks and I got this great lender who kind of overlooks some things and we'll get you approved for, 240 instead of 130, right? Okay. Well, 240, that's great, but then they're eating rice and beans for the next 4 years, right? We don't want that. We want to do what's right for people, right? And so I truly believed I had what they needed. And here it is again. Close your ears. You can mute me. I'm about to get religious again. All right. Warning, 3, 2, 1. Here it comes. All right. As they were walking up the driveway, I would say a quick prayer for them. And I'd say this: God, help me to bless these people. All right. As they come in this door. And then I would follow that up with a heavy dose of, you ready for this? A little bit of confidence. They have no idea how lucky they are in the next 5 seconds to get a chance to meet me. I'm telling you, I would say it in my head, right? I'm telling you, I would say it in my head. It was my version of Samuel saying, I'm smart, this is simple, I got this before a test. I was clearing my mind to say, you know what? I do have what they need. These people have no idea. They thought they were going to go buy a trash can, right? And now they get to buy a home, right? They were on their way to Lowe's, and here I am, all right? And here we go, and they have no idea how lucky they are. And it's attitude, guys, and it's a fine line. People say, that's arrogant. I say, yeah, confident, arrogant, you're base, my boss, you're arrogant, you're arrogant, my confident is a fine line, right? Of where do we get to there and how do we do it? All right. So that's where we're going to be.
Positive affirmation.
There you go. Speaking,
Positive
and
affirmation.
You're right, Barbara Ann. Exactly. You're affirming what you want, and it's good for them as well. That's what I started to do. I became an expert in investor buying. When I first started doing this, I'd been in the business 2 days when I sat my first government resale open house. I had a manual, 1.5 inches thick, that taught me how to sell government foreclosure homes, FHA foreclosures. People were starting, by the first day that people came in, I put out my signs, right? And I had like 3 people follow me in as I was putting my signs out. I ended up meeting 38 people that day, right? I was like, right on, all right? The first open house I sat was Dave DeBow's aunt's listing or something like that. It got nobody, right? Because it was overpriced and it was in a regular neighborhood. I sat at bank foreclosure and I met 36 people. I was like, right on. I'm a math guy. 36 people in 1 day compared to 2 people in 2 days. All right. My chances are greater of finding somebody who wants my help. Right. So I said, here we go. Let me see if I can help. And they're like, how does this work? I'm like, yeah, well, go look around. I'm like leafing through the manual, trying to figure it out. I'm like, oh, it's like a sealed bid and bids are due on Monday and they're open the following Tuesday. And FHA will lend money on some of these properties. I was just reading it into them as fast as I could go because I didn't know what I was doing, right? But it didn't matter. I figured it out, and I was just, I got excited and started to help people sell some stuff. So I became an expert in investor buying. I work first-time home buyers with vigor. By the way, I encourage you to do so because they're loyal. They're more loyal, and guess what? They're generally younger, and by the time you get home from the closing, they've already touched 4,800 people about their closing.
Right.
Right? Because 6 who knew 8, that knew 12, that knew 17, that did just like, repost, reshare, tweet, retweet that. Hey, next thing you know, you get your phones like, hey, Carolina, I just saw you sold my friend a home and we work at Publix together. I figure if she works at Publix, can buy a home. I work at Publix. Do you think I could buy a home? That's just how it works, right? Okay. And it's just, but you got to get that ball rolling somehow. How do I get that ball rolling? So that's what the goal is to get as many people in front of you as possible. And I don't know, you know what? I don't have the answer. Bank foreclosure is one idea. You come up, somebody got some creative people, all right? Gene, you still there, right? Gene's our creative person. We just went through a whole book over the last 8 weeks, teaching us how to get stuff out of our mind and onto paper so we can get things done. So it frees us up to be creative still. right? To allow for ideas to come and things and synergy as we're meeting with groups and so on and so forth. And I apologize. I'm still working on a cup of coffee tonight. And so I'm a little excited. You have to go back and listen. This is being recorded. You can go back and slow me down and listen in halftime if you want, if you want to catch everything I'm saying. All right. But I get excited about this stuff. All right. We're going to list by referral only. All right. That's what I talked about. Now I get the answer referral, all right, because I sold the $124,000 townhome. Now I get the $1.4 million listing, not vice versa, right? Everybody else is teaching, go get the 1.4 and that will get you buyers. I say, that's great, but how do you get the listing to begin with? How about go work with buyers and your buyers will lead you to your listings rather than your listings lead you to your buyers? I'm telling you, it's my story. It's how it works, right? We're going to stop dancing for your dinner, right? That's what I talked about when we had to do the Coldwell Banker, listing presentation dance. All right, cool. All right, so already got that? That's corn planting. And why is it corn? Because in 10 weeks, I sold 4 homes. I had 8 homes under contract. All right, that's corn, right? That's great. But it's not the best thing ever because I want you also to be able to plant an orange grove. So here's it. This is simple.
Got this.
I got this.
Okay.
I got this.
All right. So this is simple. I'm unmuted. All right. Story of 7 levels of communication. I lost my dust cover on this, so it looks like a black book. It's not one of those black books, like the black book. You know what I mean? Oh, my little black book. Okay. No, it's not one of those. All right. This is a black book, and it's called The 7 Levels of Communication. Anybody have a copy of this they can share with the rest of the group that actually has the cover on it?
Somewhere.
You got one? If anybody finds one. Oh, here it is. It says that at least on the spot. Oh, there we go. All right, Nick. Everybody look at Nick. Find Nick Giuliano or Giuliano.
Hold the
Julie
book
or
up.
Guli?
That's it.
7 Levels of Communication by Michael Maher, M-A-H-E-R. M-A-H-E-R. In my opinion, there is no better real estate specific book that teaches you how to develop and establish relationships and get business out of your relationships, but in a totally backward method again, right? There we go. Oh, thanks. Barbara Ann has one as well. Thanks, Barbara Ann. Okay. Story of 7L. All right. It works. The results are proven. It's the recipe. I told you the recipe and we're not going to deviate from it, right? You ready for this line? I'm not going to hashtag it. I'll just put periods in by after each word because that's making a point in social media ease. Is that true, Cody?
Exactly.
Okay, thank you very much. I shall like to have my millennial affirmation. I got to have my affirmation from my millennial. Jeanette tells me all the time, you better know how to deal. You got to be able to relate to the millennials and the Gen Zers, Bob. That's who your new agents are. All right, you better do that. So you old ones. By the way, you new agents in the business, you know the best way to keep you excited about real estate?
Sell a house?
Keep you away from the old agents.
Oh, no.
Right? Oh, buyers are liars, and all this is, and oh, you better have 8.5 years worth of income stored up before you'll sell your first home, and don't do it. You know what I mean? All this stuff, right? The good news is that's another advantage of COVID is that you guys aren't around some of the older agents that'll tell you how bad it is. All right. So. You guys got to bear with me. This one story reminds me. I got to tell this story. Okay, so I was at Prudential Brilliant Realty. Lori, do you remember Prudential Brilliant by any way? They turned into Coldwell Banker. Okay, so Prudential Brilliant. After I left Dave, I was at Prudential Brilliant, and we had a mandatory Tuesday office meeting every Tuesday morning. As mandatory as it can be when you have independent contractors, somehow he found a way, right? It's like, you can't tell people where to be when they're an independent contractor. He says, yeah, well, don't come here and see what happens. All right, I'll be there. All right, so, all right, he's an old school guy, right? Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, all right? That's, coffees for closers. Let's make this thing, all right? So I go in, and these 2 old guys were in the office, right? You guys remember the Muppet Show? Yeah. Okay. Okay, remember the 2 old guys in the balcony?
Yeah.
Right? That always chipping at, like whenever there was whenever, Gonzo would do his little gig, they'd all throw vegetables at him or whatever. And then these guys would always have some sly comment like about that or whatever. Remember those guys? All right. Yeah. Those were the guys at this Prudential Brilliant office. Right. So I'm coming in and I'm selling, literally 1993, I'm selling $48,000 homes. All right, I'm telling you, right? These bank foreclosures. My whole selling point. What, you ready for my? You want a script? I told you I want a script, but I'll give you one. You want a script? Ready? People came to my open house.
Yeah.
Why are you renting? There it is. Write it down. Would you rather me hashtag that? Okay. Why are you renting? I'm like, oh, I'm not renting. Oh, really? Yeah, you already have a home? Yeah, I own a home. How about a second one? Okay, it would lead to that, right? Or why are you renting? Well, because why? Did you know you can rent for less than what it costs? I mean, you can own for less than what it costs to rent. Yeah, but what about, down payment? I got that figured out. All right, that's not a problem. Really? Okay, seriously. So I was selling these $48,000 homes. Literally, their monthly payment, PITI, all in, was like, $387. It's awesome. Oh, real quickly, by the way, we're coming up to the end of the year. My second year in the business, because I was at Prudential Brilliant. This all ties in. So let me tell you about the old guys, and then I'll tell you about after Thanksgiving. So I'm selling these, and so they come in every Tuesday morning. Hey, McDougal, they're sitting in the same chairs. It's like the people at church, right? They have your same pews. Nobody moves, right? And if you dare to sit there, you get in trouble, right? So they have their seats. Hey, McDougal, do you sell another $50,000 home? I'm like, nope. And they say, see, I said, I had to sell 4 of them, right? Because trust me, if you're going to sell $50,000 homes, you better sell a lot, right? So I said, I sold 4. Like, yeah, whatever, right? So these guys always, and they never sold me. We had to write all our sales up on the board, right? And they never sold anything, but they had all sorts of advice for me to tell me about why I shouldn't be selling $50,000 homes, right? And I'm like, whatever, dudes, right? And I would just picture them in there. And so I come in, and this is where it ties in. I come in literally the first Tuesday after Thanksgiving, and we're sitting in the office meeting, and they're kind of within earshot of me, and they say, yep, it's all over. I'm like, what? I said, yeah. Oh, you've never lived through. Oh, yeah. After Thanksgiving, nobody buys, right? In my mind, I'm thinking, nobody buys from you guys any time of the year. What do you mean nobody buys? He said, yeah, oh, yeah, people in their minds on other things, nobody's buying after Thanksgiving. And I've been reading some of these books, Norman Vincent Peale, and some of these books I'm going to introduce you to, all right, and how to think and how to change I literally took my fingers and put them in my ears, right? And they're like, what are you doing? I said, I can't afford to hear that. I said, I've got things to do, and I've got goals to meet, and I'm not listening. And they're like, oh, what an idiot. They just gave me all sorts of stuff. All of a sudden, I thought, you know what? I wonder if that's true. I wonder if, what I'm saying is, I wonder if realtors believe that. Because realtors already, I've only been in the business about 14 months, and I've already seen how lazy my competition is. I bet you they get even more lazy after Thanksgiving, right? So I started sitting open houses, these bank foreclosure open houses, every day of the week, not just Saturday and Sunday, right? And I started meeting people. And you know what my sales pitch was? Because back in the day, right, what is the homestead exemption now in Florida? How much?
50,000.
50,000.
50? Holy
50.
smokes, 50. That's, I see, this gets even better. Back in the day, it was only like 25,000, but I was selling homes that were like $38,000 homes that had assessed values that were at 24,000, right? And my whole sales pitch was, hey, I can get you qualified for more home because I can get you in, but we got to close before the end of the year so we can get homestead locked in, because now I have the taxes will be 0, right? Because it's only assessed for 24 and I get you a $25,000 exemption, your taxes are nothing, right? And I can get the PITI down so we can get your debt to income ratio. And and literally I sold 6 homes and closed them after Thanksgiving that year, right? While they were telling me, oh, couldn't happen, right? So that being said, we're going to keep you away from the others. So here's the deal. Stop asking for referrals. Yeah, but how do I get referrals? Stop asking for them. They come.
Earn them.
Who? Nancy, what'd you say?
I said earn them.
Amen. I'll wave a hanky at you. All right, here we go. Here's a hashtag for you. Earn the right. Earn the right. Earn the right to be introduced to somebody's friend. not because you passed a flipping test. All right. Sorry, James. I know it was a lot of work to pass the test. All right.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Passing the test does you nothing to sell real estate. And by the way, if you become on board Future Home, it does teach you how to stay out of jail, and I'm glad about that. So stay out of jail. All right. Okay. All right. And keep your broker out of jail. I don't look good in orange. All right. So that's good. But but Nancy, you hit the nail on the head. Earn the right to be referred. Earn the right to be, and I don't even like the word referred. It sounds too much like a business transaction. Earn the right to be introduced. Right.
Mhm.
And in this book, he's going to teach us that we're going to go give massive value first. We're going to go wow them with so much upfront value that they feel overwhelmed and they are psychologically indebted to us. Right? I'm just telling you, it's like a no-brainer. I got to tell you another quick story. I'm here in Nashville. Brentwood is just south of Nashville. There's a huge, we don't attend this church anymore. It was a huge Baptist church. 10,000 people attend on a weekend, right? Okay, huge Baptist. It's Nashville's version of Idlewild Baptist, right? Yeah. Okay, very good. Right. So, huge Baptist church, really cool thing. Guess what? 10,000 people. They've got 80 dentists that attend church there. You know, just numbers. You know, numbers are numbers. You know, it says that odds are that about 80 dentists will attend a church of 10,000 people. Right. So they go. Create this mobile dental lab, right? Out of a converted, bus type thing, mobile dental lab. And they just go to these 80 dentists and say, hey, can you guys give us a couple hours a month? Like, yeah, sure. I'm happy to. Right. So they take this mobile dental lab, they go to East Nashville, inner city, and throw open the doors. Right. And they say, come on, get your teeth fixed. Right. And they're like, right on. So people are coming in and they're just doing it pro bono, free, just ministering to the neighborhood. Are you with me? Right? But while they're got their hands in their mouth and their mouth is all Novocaine'd up, right? They're kind of like a captured audience a little bit there. They just say, hey, I'm what, are they going to complain? All right. Hey, look, you're filling my, I've had this toothache for 3 years, right? Who am I to complain? Right. And they're like, hey, anything I can pray with you about? Anything I can, what's going on in your life, right? They're not trying to, beat them over the head with the Bible or anything like that. They're just saying, hey, anything I can help you with? You know what they're doing? They're earning the right to be heard. Are you with me? Now, I'm not saying good, and different methods, I get it, but the guy who paints John 3:16 on his belly and stands behind the field goal post, right, or whatever, right? Trying to think, hey, look, you know what? Somebody maybe gets the message that way, but I think it's a lot better when someone's giving value first and they earn the right. Are you with me? Right? Yep. So think about that as you're thinking, well, how can I earn the right? How can I go give value? Right? And the book is going to help us do that. So we're going to stop asking, but we're still going to we're going to focus on people and relationships. We're going to get, these are all words you're going to learn from the book. Dig deeper with a few rather than shallow with many. How about that? Right? Oh, you need to have 48,000 people in your database. A lot of writing on my database. Right? That's a lot of handwritten. All right. So how about this? Ready? Here's one for you. Write this one down. 150 equals 22,500. Write it down. I'm watching those of you that are on camera. I can see if you're writing or not. 150 equals 22,500. Here's the deal. You only need 150 people in your database. Because 150 know 150. And you know what 150 squared is?
22,500.
Thank you very much. Right? If you have 150 people that swear by you as a realtor, that's all you need. You're done. You're done. You need 150 orange trees. That's it. Right? Because if 150 orange trees produce 150 oranges each, telling you, this is simple.
I got this.
Thank you.
I got this.
All right.
Sorry, I was
it's
muted.
getting late, and I know I've overstepped my time, and I apologize. I just get so excited. All right. in essence, you're going to stop selling and start attracting, right? Or stop chasing, start attracting. All right. So here's what I got to finish up with. This is simple.
I got this.
Told you. Here is the deal, right? You got to agree to submit to an accountability partner and to the group. You got to meet with your accountability partner in person, and you could do it via Zoom. You could do it on a phone call. I don't care. Mask up. Hey, have you been COVID tested? Yes. Do you have therapeutic plasma? Yeah, I got it on me in a vial right here, right? Whatever you want to do. All right, I'm tired of this thing. Let's just move on and go sell houses. Do not allow for anything to stop you from taking the steps in the process. Don't cheat the recipe, right? Refuse to allow yourself, your accountability partner, or the group to make excuses and to succumb to lack of effort. Okay? Now, here's all I ask of you. Remember I told you you don't have to, I'm not charging anything to be part of the group. All right, here are your commitments though. You ready? Now, if I were in front of you, I would tell you to tuck your toes underneath your table because I'm going to start stepping, right? So if you want to verbally or whatever, virtually put your toes away so I don't step on them, you can mute me, all right? But I'm going to step on some toes here, fully admitted, all right? In 3, 2, 1. Got to be willing to change and commit to personal growth. You got to be honest and accountable. You got to agree to read 1 book a month, all right? Read a book. All right, and the books we're going to read are going to be simple and easy. It's not rocket science, but I'm going to highly encourage you, at least for the first couple, to get your hands on a physical copy of them. Not an ebook, not an audio book. You can get those to supplement, is fine, but get your hands on a book that you can smell pages. All right? All right, it gets you in the mood. All right, not that kind of mood, but the mood. You know what I'm talking about. All right, okay. It's a money-making aphrodisiac. How's that? All right, okay. All right, let's go there. All right, I said it. I told you. Stop being offended. All right, okay. Guys are. I don't get it. He's Christian, but then I get offended by his. He's not a prude. These guys are. If you looked at my playlist on my Pandora, you'd say, "What in the world?" Guy listens to Bach and Beethoven and Nelly. All points in between, right? What's going on? All right, because that's me. All right, agree to read 1 book a month. Get 8 hours of sleep a night. Here we go. I told you I can't do it. Give me your excuses. Come on, lay them on me. If you know, Bob, if you only knew, I'm homeschooling. I've got 4-year-old. I've got 3 kids being virtual schooled at home. I've got Give me your calendar. Let me follow you around for a day, and I'll find 8 hours of sleep for you. I'm telling you. All right, because I have to do it to myself. All right, but I make it, and they're like, holy smokes! All right, if that's the case, then get off the stinking class, Bob. You're over time. All right, well, we're working on it. All right. Here's one: drink 64 ounces of water a day. All right, now already you guys are looking at me like, what in the heck? What does this have to do with selling at real estate? And the answer is nothing. Thank you very much, Cody. It's nothing but everything, right? This has nothing but everything. What's that?
Sharpening the saw.
Amen. All right. And a fellow Cubbyite myself, attaboy. All right. Drink 64 ounces of water a day and Cody said it well, because you know what? When you start to run hard in this business, you start to get a lot of business and that bumper crop starts to come in. All right. Something's going to happen. They talk about it in this book. It's called Success Suicide. Right? Where all of a sudden the guy starts rolling in his business. By the way, this book is easy to read because it's a story of a dude who was looking to get out of real estate. Right? And he goes to one more seminar and gives up and says, yeah, all right, I'll give in. I'll give him my credit card. It's already over limit anyway. What the heck have I got to lose? Right? And so he gives him a credit card and gets a coach. And the good news is you don't need a coach. It's going to cost you $17.95 for the book. And we get to go through the coaching sessions together and get to cheat and listen and not have to pay the $1,000 a month for the coach. All right. So that's what we're going to do. All right. But it's a great story, but he gets sick. He's like, uh-oh, right when I started to get the ball rolling, what happened? I got sick. So I got to take care of my body. Right. Drink 64 ounces of water a day. Agree to perform 30 minutes of cardiovascular exercise 3 days a week. What? I told you. Toe stepping. Here I come. All right. I got more coming. Wait till I tell you about tithing here in a minute. All right.
Yeah, right.
All right. That's nothing. All right. I'm just telling you, right? Because what's going to happen is like, here's what I know. That if I'm going to attract business as opposed to try and repel it, or if I'm going to, try to sell it, if I'm going to be attracting business, all right, part of it, remember that's one of the LYs, one of the four is physically, right?
Just take care of you.
Yeah. And does it matter? Let me ask you this. Part of it's an attitude. And do you remember I told you that open house and I walked up the door and I said, they have no idea how lucky they are to get a chance to meet me in the next 5 seconds, right?
Yeah.
You know why we could say that? Because I was confident in how I thought and how I looked. I'm just telling you. I've been in a stage in my life where, you know what? We put it this way. I feel more confident that I can help people when my pants fit.
Yeah. True.
It's true. You know what I mean? You tell me. Here's the other thing. When I said I was going to get up early and go, by the way, you ever heard that people say time flies? Agree? Right?
Yeah.
Time flies. You've heard that a lot, right?
Right.
I'll agree with that. Time flies with this exception. Time flies except when you're supposed to spend 45 minutes on a rowing machine.
That's true.
That is the slowest 45 minutes you will ever have in your life. I'm like, holy smokes, I could have listened to like War and Peace, I think, and I'm looking at it, it's like 32 minutes? What are you talking about? Jeez. How in the, gee, many Christmas. So that being said, but when I discipline myself to get up early enough to get my 45 minutes of rowing in, and I walk out the door, you know what I'm doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, well, you better do business with me. You going to do business with me or that schlub over there? Right? I'm just telling you, it's the attitude. It's what I say, you know what? And you know what? You should do business with somebody who's disciplined. Are you going to trust your biggest financial decision of your life with somebody who's totally undisciplined in their life? Look at their car. They got freaking hamburger wrappers all over the floor. Is that who you want to trust your earnest money escrow check with? Right? I want somebody that, I know I'm stepping on toes here, like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't go in my car. Right? But I'm just telling you, there is structure, there's freedom and structure, and there's an attitude that comes along with being disciplined, right? So that's part of what we're teaching, all right, is this discipline. You're going to volunteer at a nonprofit 4 hours a month, right? Some of you already do it, okay? Whatever floats your boat, right? Hey, I'm really into the green thing, Bob. Then go volunteer for the Arbor Society. Go walk the beaches and clean up the beach. Go do something. Hey, Bob, I'm really into puppies, right, Cody? All right. Then go donate time at the what's that? Kennel thing, whatever the
ASPCA.
SPCA. Thank you very much. Right. Well, and here's the thing. What happens when you're there? Right. So Jean goes to the SPCA. All right. And she's sitting there and she's elbows deep into flea-ridden soapy water because you're at the intake section where you're getting these new mutts that have come in. Right. And someone next to you is at the tub next to you and you strike up a conversation. Right. Is it easy to strike up a conversation because you both have your elbow deep in sudsy water, volunteering time to, yeah, absolutely. Right. There's a point of connection there. Hey, what do you do? Well, I'm an accountant at Raymond James. Oh, really? Good. Right. What do you do? Oh, you know what? I'm a real estate agent. Yeah. Hey, you know what? I have a friend, sister, brother, aunt who's thinking about moving here from New York because they won't open up their frickin' state and prices are about 1/3 and there's no state income. By the way, if you cannot sell real estate in a state that has our prices and our no state income tax, right? Then you better go check yourself, right? I'm just telling you, if you can't sell real estate here, you've got issues. I told you I'm not nice. You want the hand patting broker? Not me. All right. Okay. This is not that class. All right. Come on. All right. Volunteer at a nonprofit 4 hours a month. Donate 10%. I told you we're going to teach you to tithe. I can't do that, Bob. Don't ask me how to explain it. When Jeanette and I were newlyweds, she insisted on it. I said, Jeanette, we do not have enough money to live. I don't know how to say this to you. I'm a teacher. You got an entry-level accounting position. I don't know. We just got to do it. It worked. I don't know. All right. I can't explain to you why 90% somehow stretched further than 100. All I can tell you is that it did. But mathematically, as a businessman, I can tell you that 90% of 200,000 is more than 100% of 50,000. I will tell you that, right? And when you start to live in a good lifestyle, it comes back to you in spades. It just happens. Okay, Carolina, it wasn't a hand raise, but just a roof raise.
Amen.
All right, it was a roof raise. All right, good deal. All right, good deal. All right.
Well, the other thing, our donations now this year are 100% deductible.
Absolutely, right? And that's, there are all sorts of byproducts to give, right? But I'm just telling you, it just works. It's a mathematical anomaly, but you will find it to be the case. Worship once a week. All right, preferably here I go again. All right, I should have warned you about the 3-2-1. All right, but again, don't do it. I'm not going to follow you around to make sure you do it, right? Even though I don't know if you guys know, when you log into Zoom and you have your camera on, automatically now I have control. I'm just kidding. I don't have it. All right. That being said, if you're de-churched, right, then go spend an hour a week somewhere, like at the beach, and ponder the thought that there might be a higher power that's not you, right? Just do that, okay? If nothing else, I just challenge you to do that, all right? I like corporate because I think there's something good. When I say corporate, that means in a group setting, right? Because I think there's validity in getting together with a group of people that think like I think, right? Okay, and that we all can, worship, if you will, together, right? That's just me, all right? Let's see. All
So
this
many
requires,
churches are online.
yeah, right. You can do it all online.
If
I know.
anybody hasn't, you can try them out by just doing it online. Amazing the number of people that I've known that didn't go to church, but since this, and I had sent them the link, and they're, plugging in because they enjoy that communicating.
Absolutely.
And,
there's always positives out of every negative. So I think we got it. Okay. So this is going to require discipline, accountability. It's not going to be easy, but it'll be a defining moment, I guarantee, in these 5 LYs, right? Spiritually, emotionally, intellectually, physically, and financially. Finish. Commit to finish, right? Don't start. Do you know how many people start marathons? I don't know the exact number, a lot. Do you know how many people finish? Not as many as start. Right? All right. I'm just telling you, don't be that guy or that gal. All right. Finish. Don't just be another one of those, oh, well, it sounded good. I was all excited last night, but then I woke up and I had to go to the rowing machine. Okay.
45 minutes.
That's right. This is simple. By the way, don't start with 45 minutes. Start with 5, right? Yeah, and just build up. This is simple. I got this.
I got this.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
I
Basic
got
meeting
this.
agenda. Here's what we're going to do. 30 minutes, because we're going to have more meetings. 30 minutes of laser focus. I'm going to show you how to corn plant, and we're going to talk about it as a group. Hey, here's an idea that I came across. Right? And I could do that over here in New Tampa. Yeah, I'm down in South St. Pete. Whatever, right? We're just going to talk about what we're going to do. 30 minutes of corn planting, 30 minutes of laser focus on Orange Grove, which is the 7 levels of communication stuff. And then we're going to spend 30 minutes of accountability and personal growth discussions, right? How are we getting better? All right. How's that working out for us? Right. Final sessions. Oh, this is kind of an old PowerPoint. The final sessions will be generally every 2 weeks via Zoom. That's true because this one was via Zoom. All right. But generally we'll meet next. I'll give you the next meeting. So if you're ready, here's your assignment for the next meeting. Get a copy of the 7 levels of communication and read it. Okay. Yeah. Read it. 2 weeks. Yeah. We're meeting in 2 weeks, September 30th, right back here. All right. We're going to meet in Nick's living room instead of here. Is that all right, Nick?
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, perfect. Good deal. All right. Okay. Get a copy and read it. It's an easy read. It's a story. You get there's even like a little love story mixed in there, right? He throws a little bit of that. By the way, if you're on, okay, let me get to this. Come with an accountability partner of mine. Join the Facebook group page down here. You see this? The bottom left-hand corner of the slide. Yeah. Facebook.com/groups of the 100K Club. Most of you are a member of that already. If you're not, join it. You have to get permission to join.
Yeah.
All right, but join it because it's so much help. Plus, that's where we're going to do most of our announcing of the meetings on it. Okay, so the 100K Club, Facebook.com, the 100K Club. Join it. You're going to see all sorts of help there. By the way, as you're reading the book, be careful. Michael Mayer, the author of the book, is a member of 100K group page, right? So be easy on him if you're trying to say, well, I wish he missed a comma here. All right, well, okay. I'm going to call you the 2 guys from the balcony if you start pointing out stuff like that. Hey, yeah, don't be afraid of, matter of fact, I got a funny story. So I met Michael. I've actually brought him in, done a seminar and everything. And so Michael, I said, hey, Michael, 7 levels of communication, it's all good. You know, it really should be called the communication pyramid, because that's really the focus of the book, is this part right here, right? You know, it's, I mean, I get it, but you know what? Or how about the generosity generation? You know, you'll learn about that in the book. I said, why don't you call it that? He said, you know, that's all a great idea, Bob. What's the name of your book? I said, touche. All right, I got you. All right, I'm out. Never mind. All right, yeah, and remind me again. Mine's the best-selling real estate book on Amazon. I said, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I'll go back to my room now. So, join the Facebook group page. Begin new habits, become their slave. We'll talk about that. Decide you're going to finish this time. This is simple.
I got this.
All right, that is the end. So everybody got it? September 30th, right?
Okay, got it.
September 30th, 7 p.m. Zoom. Get your book. If you real overachievers will go set a bank-owned open house between now and 2 weeks from now. How do I do that?
Yes,
but I need someone to show me. I need, Winners will figure it out. All right? Winners will figure it out. Or, you know, be 2 weeks behind somebody else on your, you know, corn. It's up to you. It don't matter to me. All right? You know, no skin off my back. My kid's still going to college. All right? You're the one who has to decide whether your kid's going to college or not. All right? It's up to you. Cool? Awesome?
Cool.
Hey, thanks for hanging with me.
Thanks.
I know I was a little late. All right. And thanks for dealing with this aspect. You know what we will do, though? I guarantee, even if we can't, we'll find somehow to socially interact somewhere, even if it's not a meeting, but just, hey, let's go, you know, find a watering hole that's open and that will allow us to come in. All right. So we can see each other in the flesh. All right. Okay. And you can see that I did lose those 2 pounds in the next 4 days. All right. Cool.
Thanks for
all right, guys. Have a great night.
Okay.
If you need us, look for you on the Facebook page. Have a great night. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank
You too.
you.
Thanks, Bob.
Bye.
Bye.
God bless.